Hi, it's me, Joyous, and we're gonna be talking about some Japanese cosplayers and Japanese models in general for today. Whilst you see some uh, time lapse of me sketching the models in the background, because I feel like there is such a finesse to them that I really want to talk about. That I've come across recently, uh, these two in particular, and it got me to realize really quickly that the Japanese models, the style of it is like very finesse and creative, and quite artistic in its approaches versus the modern style of posing and um, creativity. Because uh, I noticed, like, from these two, right off the top, there is a softness to them, and their approaches to posing and style, in a sense. Because it's like, when it comes to poses, I at time find it really hard to come up with an idea. But then when it comes to like Japanese poses and uh, their ways of going about it, it's like, oh wow, that's so amazing, And I see a lot of it through Pinterest as well. So it's like, you know what? I wonder if Twitter has any good references and Japanese models. And lo and behold, yeah, there are plenty of great models out there that are really good for referencing and really putting it out there to get the ideas going for what to draw, and even for figure drawing, especially as you can see from here a little bit. Um, and it's really nice because, like, I don't have to think hard and much about the posing. Like, because these poses, they're very creative. They don't feel stale whatsoever. When looking at them and studying them, if like I learned a lot from poses and creative poses, because where there's action, there is detail, and where there is detail, there is growth. So it's very nice to see that in action because uh, learning how to pose helps when the pose itself isn't easy. Like, it requires a bit of thought, and that's just what it is when it comes to these models. They put thought and effort into their poses, and of course, that isn't to say that the modern posing in cosplayers isn't uh creative either. I mean, just look at Mare's Web. I mean, she alone is like so good at what she does. And it's just very nice to see that in action, like creativity in a cosplayer, and as well as essentially in a model, because that is pretty much what a cosplayer is when you really think about it. Um, so yeah, it's very nice to see that. I've had many uh like desires to draw, but then it's like, okay, but what is it that I want to draw? And when it comes to finding a pose or like a reference, um, in particular, the Japanese models, they really help out a lot because their style is a little more in specific to learning the figure because they get very creative in their approaches. And another artist that comes to mind when I think of like the Japanese models and style is one of my inspirations, Sheizu Art. Um, he uses a lot of Japanese and Korean poses influences in his original character Mina. Like his poses and his art is very artistic, and you can tell it's really inspiring and detailed in its approach to posing and drawing itself. So that's like one of the key reasons that got me into Cheizu, you know? Um, so there is a lot to learn about the Japanese models and um, just figure drawing in general from them because they do not lazy around when it comes to posing and going about it in a way that isn't shy. Uh, so it's very nice to see that. I could tell already, like halfway through this, that it's very efficient and I'm learning a lot. Um, so I really enjoy doing these, and in doing these, it's like, okay, so where can I do more? Where can I learn more? It's like again, like Pinterest is such an endless database for finding things to draw, and uh, it turns out that Twitter is no different. I mean, it's very nice how things work like that. Like, I save a lot of poses on Pinterest, but it gets limiting from there because like I get reports and all that, and that's no fun. But when it comes to Pinterest, there is of course a lot more freedom because I won't be no reports there. So that's another thing that got me to realize something that finding references isn't on Pinterest isn't the only way to find them. So Pinterest and Twitter are useful databases, but it's a little sad to admit that Twitter is more forgiving when it comes to saving poses. But that's just how the cookie crumbles. Uh, but yes, posing is very difficult for me to understand because there's so much that goes on within the body. But when it comes to the Japanese models, they simplify that and basically set up a roadmap for me to go on so that I can then uh, practice from imagination essentially because they've already uh, filled in the hard spaces, so it's very um, freeing to come to understanding of that because posing and like finding a reference for my particular taste isn't always easy, and it's difficult for me to like pinpoint what it is that I'm thinking of what to draw. So figuring out and essentially scouring the databases for what it is that I want to draw is quite the search. So when it comes to doing models and uh, sketching from poses, it's very adaptive when it comes to drawing cosplayers and models in general. So I was really happy to come to draw these and really get a feel for like what it is that is important when it comes to poses and learning how poses work, because there is a lot to go on with posing, and it's something that is like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So when it comes to the Japanese models, though, they pretty much set up the roadmap and set up an understanding of what to draw and how to learn, because like even just looking at these references, like the lighting, the clothing, and the overall atmosphere, there is a lot to learn from. It's by no means lazy or by no means uh, overwhelming in a sense, because they make it a very straightforward in their approaches. And while that straightforwardness may not always be easy, it's like, there. Um, and, it's digestible in a sense to understand what it is that's going on, and as ever, uh, sketching, it doesn't need to be perfect, but the point is, to learn and to grow and to adapt, essentially, so that when it comes to rendering a full blown illustration, then I can go back to what I've already studied and what I've already practiced. And drawing from Japanese models and cosplayers and all of it, it just, adds up to the artistic growth in posing and basically drawing the body. So, yes, I hope you've enjoyed watching these uh, time lapse as well as our little talk, because I've had a lot of fun doing these and it's been quite the eye opener. So, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. And with all that being said, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.